Okay, so today we're going to look at more at mass and weight in the imperial system. So we looked a little bit at that last day with pounds and ounces and how you have to add them together. So today we're going to look at tons and convert that into pounds. So remember there's two tons. There's the imperial ton, and then of course there is the metric ton. So for the metric ton, that is T-O-N-N-E-S, or tonnes, and its symbol is just the letter T, whereas TN is for the imperial system, and it's 2,000 pounds. The metric ton, 1 ton, or tonnes, equals 1,000 kilograms. All right, so it's a little bit different there. Now, with tons, we often have a decimal, 8.7 tons. That's a little bit different with the imperial system too, because usually you're measuring stuff in pounds and ounces for smaller weights. But with larger weights, we can use the decimal. So when you're adding your weights, you would just add the decimal together like you normally would. So often we're talking about the weight of a truck would be the cab plus the trailer. So if you can see if you're overweight. 8.7 tons plus 6.4, you add them up normally 15.2. Now when you have the weight of the load, what you have to do is you have to subtract. You have to get the total weight, so the truck drives onto the scale, and then you have to subtract the weight of just the truck, which is of course the cab and the trailer. So this here is what's known. You know that, because everything that they produce, the trucks, they have their weight on there, and so do they with the trailers. So I know how much those weigh before they get on the scale. But here, for the total weight, that's why those trucks drive by the scale to see how much the total weight is. And then when you subtract, you'll get the weight of the load, 6.2 tons. And so then you can see if the truck is overweight, so then the brakes will fail, or they won't fail, so you'll know if you're safe or not carrying this load. But sometimes you have to convert that to pounds. So to convert by pounds, you can use your scale factor of 1 to 2,000, or what's the easiest thing to do? Google. So what would you type into Google? Well, it's real simple. You would open up Google and you would simply type convert 6.2 TN. It must have TN. It must be the proper abbreviation to pounds, LBS. And you'll go to some converter. There we go, 6.2 tons. It's asking you to even confirm that. Okay. So did you mean that? Yes, I did. And 6.2 tons is 1,240 pounds. Now, what if we put in the wrong abbreviation? What if we put in just the capital, the letter T? Guess what? It's a lot more. And notice how they use tonnes. So really important that you get the right abbreviation. All right. There we go. And now it's back. It's in US ton or metric imperial ton. Any questions? Okay, so now you can simply do this. Use your Google to transfer from one to the other. And of course, going from pounds to tons, you want to simply use Google. Okay, and Google will take you to any unit conversion. So real quickly here, just show you, before I got here, I'll just go backwards again. Did you mean that? Yes, I did. But you can see there's different converter websites, right? There's this one, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. Those are all different. You choose whichever one you want. Just go real simple. This is Google's little one. And of course, you can change what you start with and what you end with. And you can change both of these. So for example, if I want to know how many tons 13,000 was, if I type in 13,000 here, there we go, it's 6.5. Or if I want to know what's 8.5, I type in 8.5 here, and then it changes it there. So it's pretty slick. Okay, and this would be for mass. Of course, you can do this for area, volume, a whole bunch of different things, pressure, speed, so on and so forth. Online converters, gotta love them. Okay, so your homework will be assignment number 4 to do those questions. And let's just do I will decide later. We're not going to do all of those. We're just going to do one of them where you have to subtract your weight. I believe it's going to be the second one. Okay, good. So it's going to be this one right here, I believe. So for this one, number 3, a small truck weighs 13,000 pounds. It's loaded with cement pieces that weigh 150 pounds each. Combined weight of the truck is load is 2.75 tons. So how many pieces can be loaded in the truck? So what you're going to have to do is take 2.75 tons, and you need to convert that into how many pounds. Okay. Then what you can do is you can subtract the weight of the truck, 1,300 pounds. All right. So once you do that, you're going to get a number. This will be your max load weight. So the maximum weight that you can put on the truck. And so what you'll have to do then is you're going to take that and divide by 150. So your max load, and then you see how many groups of 150 will go in that. Divide by 150, and that will equal how many pieces of cement you can load up. Okay, so we're going to pause there and we're going to do this. Okay, so continuing on with weights and costs in the imperial system. So unit 1, we looked at unit price. So we would look at something like the cost per apple, okay, or cost per apple. But most commonly in stores, what you see is they're going to advertise the cost per pound, LB. But you might have different sizes of items. You may have something measured in ounces. How do you know which one is the cheaper deal? You have to be able to convert into the same units. So here we have a 12-ounce can of tomatoes, costs $1.49, but another can is 1 pound 2 ounces and it costs $2.19. Which one is the better buy? We usually assume it's this one, but that's not always the case. If you look at eggs in the superstore, that's almost always happening, that the dozen is often cheaper than the 18. So what you got to do is figure out the cost of 1 ounce. This one is easy. We would just divide. So $1.49 divided by 12 ounces, cost per ounce. Next one, though, it's a little bit more because it's 1 pound 2 ounces. So what's the value? You have to convert this pounds into ounces. Okay, so you got to find the total number of ounces. So what we did is we just simply convert 1 pound into ounces. So you can do that on Google. Now, if it's not 1 pound, you can do, use Google for sure. But 1 pound is 16 ounces, so we add them together. So this can is a total of 18 ounces. Now we can do our division. So 2.19 divided by 18. Now you have the cost per ounce, and so you can compare. And this one is a tiny bit cheaper, okay? But you don't know, you got to prove it. You got to get them into the same unit price. Good. Notice that you want to keep more than 1 decimal. I would try and keep 4 decimals so that you can compare which one's cheaper. Now for 1 can, it's not going to make a big difference, but you got buy 100 cans or 200 if you're in a restaurant or whatnot, and you're going to have a big difference there with a difference of 30 cents or 0.3 cents. Okay, another example. Steak dinner. So you bought a steak dinner, 4 pounds 6 ounces. It costs $2.74 per pound. You trim off the fat, and you only have 4 pounds remaining. What is the true cost per pound of the steaks? So first of all, find the total cost of the steak. So the total cost is $2.74 times 4 pounds and 6 ounces. In order to find the true cost, though, you have to find the total weight. So you change your ounces into pounds. So you would take 6 ounces, and you would change that, use Google to change it into how many pounds. And you would definitely want to use decimals. So I'll just show you me doing that with Google. I'm just going to type it in here. And so double checking again. That was 6 ounces. All right. So convert 6 ounces, 2 lbs. Now you can use decimals because it's okay when we're doing our work. So 0.375. So you go back here and you can see their answer is correct, 0.0375 by Google. Now you can add them together. So you add 4 pounds plus the trimmed off fat. That's the total weight. Okay, so you multiply the mass times the cost per pound, and it's $11.99. That's how much he paid at the till. But to figure out the true cost, you got to take away that fat. So you trimmed off the fat, so the remaining weight, okay, 6 ounces was the fat, and there's 4 pounds now. So then you got to find the true unit cost. So it'll be $11.99 divided by 4 pounds equals $3 per pound. So the true cost per pound was $3 per pound. And that's because you had to take away your fat that was trimmed off, because you're not going to be eating that, you're not going to be using that. And that's actually what people that own restaurants and chefs do when they're looking to maximize their profits. They want to obviously buy the meat, but then you got to look at how good quality this meat is, how much fat you have to trim off, and how does that change your true cost. Okay, so now you have some questions here. So number one, how much would 1 pound cost? So you would have to go 20 divided by 12. Okay, so you divide 20 divided by 12. How much would 1 ounce cost? So then you have to convert. So your cost per pound, you have to convert that into your cost per ounce. Okay, and so you would use Google. So you would just convert we convert pounds into ounces. How much would 12 ounces cost? 12 ounces then. So then you would take your cost, so your cost per ounce, and then you would times that by 12 ounces. And that will equal your cost. Okay, so you got to figure that out from up above. An 18 jar, and you know what, I'll just leave a space here so you can write it in there. So you got to figure out from up above what that number is, and then times it by 12. 18 ounce jar of peanut butter costs $3.29, 20 costs that, and 2.5 costs $5.99. Which one's the better buy? So you're going to figure out your cost per ounce for the 18 ounces. You're going to figure out your cost per ounce for your 28 ounce jar, and then 2.5 pounds, you have to convert that into ounces, and then you can figure out your cost per ounce for that one as well and see which one's cheaper. Okay, good. So to figure out the true cost per ounce, so what you're going to do is subtract. Okay, no, sorry, you're going to, she bought 24 ounces of coffee beans for $20.45. Now this is your total. Okay, so it's a little bit different than the example we did up above. That would be in how much per ounce, and we had to multiply it to figure out the total. But now that we know the total, you're just going to take your total and you're going to divide it by your true 22 ounces. Okay, and so that's going to be your true cost per ounce. Okay, find your total and then divide by 22. Good. Okay. And that's good enough for us today. So we won't do 4 and 5 because we have to do questions on the 2 of them. We're doing 2 together. You're welcome to do them, but I'm not going to make it mandatory. Okay, off we go. Another assignment tomorrow and then Friday.